What's up, guys? It is January 25th. We are back with another session of Thoughts Out Loud Experiment. This is session 26, 27. And running a little bit behind today. I don't really have a topic to talk about. I'm sure as I go on, I'll drift into something. I've got a couple of things that I think I'm going to end up talking about right now. But first, yesterday. Yesterday didn't go the way I wanted it to. Shortly, like if you caught episode or session 26, then you heard me say that I was going to focus on doing the podcast episodes that I missed last Wednesday. Um, that didn't happen because I ha- I actually made mention of what should have been the important thing yesterday, which was the blog post. The 90% done blog post for Lunar New Year for Solar, as they call it here in Korea. So I had a blog post that was 90% done. I talked about how I didn't finish the blog post, and yet I realized after I went back and watched a little bit of the episode session that hey, refrigerator's back. I realized after I went back and watched it, like, yo, that's got to be the important thing of the day because Solar starts like now. Like it's more time sensitive than the podcast episodes that I want to get ahead on for the first 2 weeks of February. So obviously, I had to switch things up yesterday, and I don't have a problem with that, right? Like switching things up for the betterment of, for the benefit of your whole, I don't know, project or organization or your thing, your side project. Um, that's fine with me. I can switch things up and be fluid and be adjustable. Um, that definitely made more sense to go ahead and finish writing the blog post, particularly since blogging or the blog post has been the part of the equation that has taken the most hit or that has received the least attention uh, since the start of the year and since the start of the year. Uh, so I went ahead and did precisely what I said I do um, with the blog post. I went in 90% done. All I got to do is put my sources in there. All I got to do is like fact check it or do a little fine tuning with the writing, and that fine tuning turned into almost a complete rewrite. Like it was like damn. And so the whole post is like things are moved around, switched around, and I think the changes are for the better. But that's exactly what I said I do yesterday. Like I go in with that 10% less or that 10% left, and then recreate another 40% worth of work for the better though. Like it is better than it was when I went in, but I'm still not done with it. Now I'm like at 90% done. All that work yesterday on it, and I'm right back where I was yesterday when I was sitting at this desk saying I'm 90% done. Um, but it's better, and I want to make sure that the whatever I create, the products I create, the content I create is really really good. Really easy to read and straight to the point. And got rid of a bunch of other junk that didn't need to be in there, and added some clarifications and some things that I thought people might get confused about. That's one of the things about putting your work out there. That's one of the things about creating something and throwing it to the masses for them to kind of dissect and take apart and misread and I don't know, to for them to consume and possibly consume incorrectly, and then have those incorrect uh, I guess resolutions that they draw from your content, like I don't know, possibly have people misunderstand what you're saying and then come back and blame you and say, "Hey, you're giving out false information." That's one of the big fears I think I had. That's even now, not had. It's one of the big fears I have right now when I'm creating content. Like, I want to make sure this is right because I don't want anybody coming back and saying I'm putting out misinformation. Because I don't want anybody coming back and like kind of taking that. I don't want anybody to come back and take that. I don't know, I guess, site authority or the validation, or I don't know what's President Trump saying. I don't want anybody to come back and delegitimize my my little site, or my little project, or the content that I put out. Delegitimize me as a whole. I don't know why I can't talk today, but I think that's something that we have to deal with. It's something that we must endure, because that's part of the job, right? Like, I always talk about celebrities, and I got a close friend at the office who's always like, "Oh, these poor guys, they can't go do anything because they're famous, and people will disrupt it. They can't walk out and like live life like a normal person." Like, hey, we live life like normal people. It ain't all that great. They are celebrities. They got all that money. That's their trade off, right? Like, they have the financial security and things like that. That's kind of their bid. That's what they you got to give up something to get that. I don't want to be a celebrity. I don't want to be like famous and well known like everywhere. I just want I want to be well known within whatever niche I enter. Uh, right now, that's the goal, is to do that in the foreigners and Korea niche. But eventually, I'll leave. I can't stay here forever. So I will enter into a niche when I get back stateside, and that will be. I just want to be like a part of a tight knit group, and with people who all kind of create and share information and know and love what they do. Um, no telling what that'll be again, like when or what. I don't even know when I'll be back in the states as of here. As of now, I'm here till 2019. But but legitimate, like the actual, I don't know, going back in and rewriting blog posts is definitely rewrite, just recreating anything, redoing your content. I don't think a lot of people, those who create a lot of content, they just put it out there. They don't do that. And I mentioned yesterday, I can do that. I think I can. I'm getting to the point where I can do that with videos. I'm not getting to the point where I can do that with written content. I think nothing. Like, I got nothing up here. I think that might be it. It's a short thoughts out loud episode. Oh, so since that happened last night, I did go in and actually get the and not do the podcast. I'm right back here Wednesday. I never got that time back that I spent on that night I spent gaming. I never got that time back. I'm back here next Wednesday because it's Wednesday today, and I'm recording like the same stuff. Actually, I'm doing a live recording on Facebook Live tonight. So tonight's podcast is going to be broadcast at 8 p.m. Via Facebook Live. That's and how I didn't think to talk about that until now is crazy. I think this is really good for people like me, who have the anxiety of what I just mentioned with the blog post, and what I just mentioned about people coming back and delegitimizing my claim to fame, so to speak. This isn't my claim to fame, just that's just what I use. But doing things like that are live in the moment, like that anxiety has to go away, because the camera's running and people are streaming what you're saying right now, and you just have to be comfortable with it being out there. And so the first Facebook Live episode I did of the So We Were podcast, the first 18 minutes had no sound. That was one thing that was like, what can I do about it? Like, in a perfect world, if it's thoughts out, even if it's thoughts out loud, if the first 18 minutes has no sound, I just redo the video. But it's live. I can't redo it. So it just has to be out there. What I did do was I went back. I had audio elsewhere because I happened to be recording a podcast on my mic and recorded it via GarageBand. So I went back, synced up the video from Facebook Live with the sound, and uploaded that to YouTube. That kind of saved it to a certain extent. But anybody who tuned in during the first 18 minutes of that broadcast was like, "There's no sound," and they just tuned out. They didn't even say it. The only person that told me is another guy who's not another guy, a guy who's who broadcasting is part of his life, a very big part of his life. He's been broadcasting for a long time. His name is Chance Dorland. Thanks, Chance, if you ever catch this. But he came back and said, "Hey, man, there's no sound," and I was like, "Ah." The thing is, I knew there was no sound. I should have jumped on that. I didn't know, but there were signs that there was no sound because I had Facebook Live up and I couldn't hear sound. I was just hoping it was recording. Uh, that was terrible. But since it went that badly, uh, like the bar is set pretty low. I'm comfortable doing Facebook Live now because the first 18 minutes of my first Facebook Live feed had no sound. So as long as the first 17 minutes have sound, or as long as as long as there's only silence for the first 17 minutes in the next broadcast, I did better. And I don't know, failing in fantastic fashion, like just oh god, that was horrible, but it makes the next time so much easier. I'll tell you what, the reason I was even able to do the first failed Facebook Live feed was because the topic was President Park here in Korea getting impeached. And it's like the president is going through some real problems, right? Like she getting impeached. I can go and do a Facebook Live. I can go and do a Facebook Live episode and just deal with whatever happens there because the subject matter about which I am speaking is far less or far more dire than whatever will happen on like what's the worst that could happen on a Facebook Live content, right? Like you have 18 minutes with no sound, or the entire thing with no sound. It was like an hour long. It was like an hour long broadcast. But yeah, that I learned right then. Like okay, this was good. I'm more comfortable doing it. I learned a lot from it. I'm even more comfortable speaking to this camera right now just because of what happened with Facebook Live. Because I mean, what's the worst that can happen, really? And so what I did was, even though it's still uncomfortable, and even though I still do not really want to do this, I've made we'll do one episode, the last episode of every month of the So We Were podcast is going to be on Facebook Live. And it's going to be me, it's going to be kind of similar to Thoughts Out Loud. The topic will be previous So We Were content. Bastard! That's a sign that I've been here too. That is a sign that things are off. That's my alarm to like start getting ready for work. Um, so yeah, like what was I saying? You messed me up. um, Facebook Live. Oh, so the end of the content, blah. Facebook Live episodes of the So We Were podcast are going to be focused on like the month's So We Were content, just to kind of go back and give people an idea of what they missed and what's to come next month, and then I don't know, maybe even talk about something. It'll eventually get to the point where I talk about things that I saw that were Korea related on Facebook, and I don't know, we just have a discussion in there, in within that broadcast that's live, and I can respond to people saying things and respond to people's questions right away. It'll just, I don't know. It will develop into its own thing. But I saw the fact that it was, even though it takes me out of my comfort level, it was very good for me and made me more comfortable, and it's good for the whole organization already. It's good for Soul Weaver as a whole. It's good for my project, you know, in its entirety. It's good for me as a whole, because I think I think live video is just a great way to go. It's a great way to connect with your readers, listeners, viewers, etc. So, bye, Frank. So, with that being said, it's a refrigerator. We gotta call him Ralph. Ralph the refrigerator. With that being said, that's all I got. I got a ton going on today. Um, Something's not gonna happen. There's just the hours aren't there. I'll do the podcast tonight live, 8 o'clock. I'll keep it 30 minutes or shorter because the only reason the last one was an hour is because there was so much to cover. But a 30-minute live broadcast tonight. Uh, no editing, thank God, because it'll be live broadcast. I'll just turn it on and won't have to edit the podcast. Upload that for tomorrow morning, and then I think I'll still have time to squeeze in. I'll have time to squeeze in those podcast episodes that I dropped the ball on last Wednesday. Gotta get that done. First things first, though, let's get the Solar post posted. So that's what we're gonna do right now. That's what I got going on, guys. Let me know what you got going on in the comments. Anybody, if you like this video, if you like the topic, if you have any questions, go ahead and smash that like button. Even if you don't like it, hit the like button anyway. But let me know why you didn't like it in the comments, right? And then if you again, I do thoughts out loud every morning. It's part of my morning routine. I hope it's part of yours. And you can just subscribe if you want to catch more. Questions or comments in the comment section, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.